All right, look at the next one. It says sales relationship. Bob, we're going to make you a national sales manager. Your corporation has a funny corporate policy. It is that you cannot get into outside sales without being a degreed person. You've lived with that policy for years. It's okay with you. You're not particularly strong on it, but policy is policy, and that's the way it is. I've worked for you for 12 years on a sales service desk. I handle several $1 million worth of follow-up support type business over the phone, sales service. I'm not an outside rep. I dropped out of high school a long time ago. But I'm a good, honest employee, been with you years and years and years. A territory opens up here in this area, and I come in and lay a real pitch on you. I know I can do it. I've been with you 17 years. Ought to be an exception. So you go to corporate and say, we got this guy who knows the product, he knows most of the customers, so he doesn't have a degree. Let's make an exception. And you're very persuasive, sucker, so they say yes. Okay? So now you sit down with me and say, Paul, here's the situation in the territory. We are in our basic business, which is business A, and we're also trying to open up kind of a new business. We have become the manufacturer's rep for a brand new device that has to go through a different channel of distribution. And you must spend some of your time on this new product. So make it 80-20, and that's my plan, and off I go. Now I fill out call reports, and I am an honest guy. So I fill out my call reports, and you give me a $250,000 quota for this territory. It's been doing badly for a long time. The previous guy retired and never turned into paperwork. Okay, so it's really not doing well. So I go out there and I do my first rounds. I meet everybody 4 or 5 weeks, and there's a little bit of activity, and you can see I'm going to make the 250, and you're real happy with me. You even write me some notes. Paul, doing a great job. You're working your ass off. And then by about the 5th or 6th week, something dawns on you that I'm just staying in the base business, the 80 part. I haven't made any cold calls. So you drop me a little note. You're not at all concerned. It's just, Paul, don't forget the new device business, a few cold calls, our futures in that other, we guaranteed the supplier, the manufacturer, some sales. We got to do a little work on it. You don't get any response from me, but you watch the call reports, and 2 weeks later, I still haven't made a cold call. So you leave a little stronger note. You say, really appreciate what you're doing, Paul. As a matter of fact, I understand you're now projecting $320-some thousand for the year, which will take you over budget, and that's great. But I must have some cold calls on the widget side of the business. Please respond. And I send you a note back and say, gee, Bob, thanks for acknowledging what I'm doing. I'm not trying to ignore that side of the business. I've just been busy. I have some good news for you. There's a client out there that is ready to lay a $200,000 one-year contract on me, and I'm really trying to button that up. That'll take this territory to $500,000 plus. And you're pretty happy about that. But I'll get to the cold calls, promise, within the next couple weeks. So the call reports come in, there's no cold call. What do you do next?
I either call you or I invite you to lunch and go meet with you first.
All right. Why don't you call me in your office?
Paul, I'm out of my office.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Fine. How you doing, Paul?
Listen, I got a surprise for you.
Great. Hope it's a good one.
$200,000 contract. The territory will now do $520 this year.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Doubled the business.
Yep. I just want to tell you a little personal achievement. I went from $19,000 a year as a sales service guy, based on my commission schedule now. I think I'm going to be around $75,000.
That's great.
I'm out of my mind.
You earned it, Paul. That's good work.
Well, I appreciate. Listen, I couldn't have done it without you. I mean, if I was young enough to have more kids, I'd name my next one Bob.
Appreciate the compliment.
Yeah.
Paul. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
But out in your territory, there's two types of businesses we're going after.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, the widget side.
Yeah, the devices side.
Yeah.
And that's why I called you in here. I mean, happy to hear this news.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Great
you.
news. Great news.
I got another one that I'm going to hold as a surprise because it might not go down. But I know what you're saying. You want me to get on that cold call thing.
Yeah, I've written you a few notes.
And I have not ignored them. Believe me, I've scheduled it and then broke the schedule. These guys have called me a half a dozen times. I just got this order this morning at 7 o'clock. I mean, I'm 8 minutes late, and you know I'm never late for a meeting. So.
Sure.
But that's done now, and I'll be okay. Next week, for sure.
Mm-hmm. With the devices themselves,
Mm-hmm.
are you uncomfortable
Oh,
with the devices?
no, I love. I think the widget A model is going to be. I think we're going to make a lot of money. It's a great device. There's a niche in the marketplace for it. You know, I went through product training. I was the #1 student in product training on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Is there a problem with the accounts? Do you have a problem cold calling?
Oh, absolutely. I haven't done it yet. That's all. Listen, I'm 3 months into this first year, and already we're $500,000 against the 200-some thousand. So you got to cut me a little slack. I've really been hustling.
Well, I appreciate that, Paul. And with that kind of performance, I'm thinking if you put that kind of effort into the other widget device,
No doubt about it.
I think we could see the same results there.
No doubt about it. In fact, I plan on being the #1 salesperson in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Next week for sure.
Next week for sure.
Next week, I promise you.
Well, you promised me before, Paul. I'm just trying to see if perhaps there's any part at all about uncomfortable. Let me ask you this: is the incentive there for you
Absolutely.
monetarily to sell these?
If for
widgets?
nothing else to please you because you've been my godfather. I'm serious. I mean, just give me another week, Bob. I mean, you can't be unhappy with me. It's a week later and he reads the call reports and there's no cold calls. What do you do next?
I'm going to have to talk to you again.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I don't know. Sit down. You know why I called you in here.
Well, I know why I'm here. Let me give you two things. Let me give you two things. You remember I told you there was another one sitting in the weeds?
Mm-hmm.
I got it. It's not as big. It's 150. That territory's going to do 700,000 this year, and that's okay. That's okay. Listen to me carefully.
Yeah.
I'll let you down, and I know it. On the cold calls, I'm not gonna. It's my resignation. The only thing I'd like to ask is, can I have my sales service job back? I can't make cold calls. I get up in the morning, shower, shave, go out, try to make cold calls, and I puke my breakfast on my shoes. I've lost 20-some pounds in the last several months trying to make cold calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to cry or anything, but I'd like to have my job back.
Paul, wait. You're a top performer here.
Yeah, but I'm not a salesman. You know what I am? I knew all those people, and I got lucky. I can't make cold calls. Salespeople have to make cold calls.
Mm-hmm. Paul,
I know that.
If you didn't have to make cold calls and you stayed in the other 80% of our business, would you stay out there in field sales?
Well, sure I would, but I know that's unacceptable. I mean, I know what your commitment to your management is, and so.
Mm-hmm. Well, at this point, Paul, I'd be willing to take you off cold calls and just keep you out of field sales.
Or he might even be willing to go out and help me, send me to a course. Okay, now back it up one time, all right? This is the first meeting he called me in on, okay? Hi, Bob, how are you?
Hey, Paul, good again.
Listen, I got an order for $200,000. The territory's going to be $500,000 now.
Terrific, and I hope you name all your kids after me.
Thank you. I probably won't, but that's okay. Anyway, what do you want? I'm kind of in a hurry. I've got a meeting with these people this afternoon.
I'm a little miffed, Paul, about the other part of our business, the 20% where we're talking about the new devices.
I know, but
and that prospect.
Don't be a pain in the ass about that. I mean, I brought you in $500,000 against a $250,000.
Wait a minute, did you say that to your boss?
Yes.
Don't be a pain in the ass?
Yes.
I've heard words.
Arrogant salespeople do lots of things.
Maybe it's appropriate in his situation, but in my situation, I would never talk to my boss.
I'm not asking you to. I'm being me.
It depends on their relationship.
I'm making a point in problem solving too. Listen to it, okay? Anyway, I got to go.
What do you mean you have to go?
Pardon?
What do you mean you have to go?
I have an appointment.
The point is, Paul, I appreciate what you're doing out there in the field. Doing a fantastic
Oh, you should
job.
too.
With the 80%, but part of the job when you accepted the job was the 20% cold calling with the widget.
I know part of the job is to bring in $250,000 of business. I'm going to have $500,000 too. I mean, cut me some slack, man. Leave me alone. Well, you know what you really ought to do? You ought to travel with Michelle. He's not even making his quota.
I'll worry about where I'm going to spend my time. Thanks for the suggestion, but I think I'm the best
Okay.
judge of that.
All right. So he done?
No, I want to play with my calculator and pause and think for a minute.
Let me stop you for a minute. You think I could get him to fire me?
Eventually, probably not this time around.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
and I probably deserve it.
Come closer to some disciplinary action.
Now, here's the point in the problem, son, because I'm not suggesting you should talk to your boss that way, for Christ's sake. What I'm trying to do is give you an emotional issue. Is it possible that both of those people have the same problem? They just deal with it differently? The first guy says, help me. The other guy punches you in the forehead. And they both have a problem that says, I'm afraid of making cold calls. But you know what? We're human beings. I mean, a couple of you got mad at me. Just imagine what he's feeling. His next line is going to be, leave your keys, you don't have a job. The first time he was trying to help me. The real issue is, once you get emotional, you become part of the problem. You know, if you can find out that my real problem is I puke before I make cold calls, therefore I'm not making it, therefore I got a problem, you can solve the problem. You can take that job away from me, you can train me, you can do anything you want. But in the second scenario, you were going to fire me. You'd have to. I was being insubordinate, being a jerk, not following orders. But the cost was the same. I took a CPR course a long time ago. I had a very effective teacher, and he said, in problem solving, which is what CPR is, trying to find out what to give first aid, he said, you really have to be very cool. And he gave a scenario which was highly unlikely, but it goes like this. You've got the card in your wallet, you're a CPR guy, you come on the scene of an accident, a woman's been hit with a car, she's laying in the gutter, she's bleeding, she's bruised, unconscious. You say, call an ambulance, get a doctor, I'm CPR, and you lean down to start figuring out what's wrong so you can help her, and you discover it's your mother. So you cradle her in your arms and you start to cry and say, Mom, can you hear me? It's Paul. I want you to know I love you. Well, you're killing her. Because of your emotional involvement. I have a good friend who happens to be a brain surgeon, and he thinks he's the best one in his specialty in the world, but he would never operate on his sons, his brother, or his mother, or whatever, because might just shake at the wrong moment with that scalpel. So sometimes in customer relationship that happens. The customer's mad at you, and we get discombobulated, or screaming at you, or maybe saying, I even had a customer call me a bad name once when I was in the corrugated business. I mean, he was mad at me. He swore at me. And I remember getting, I don't have to take that stuff. Well, that's dumb. I became part of the problem. You know, we could have pushed the mannequin in on roller skates, and he would have called the mannequin a dirty name. He was mad. I can't get mad as a professional. So,
You can get even.
maybe. Next to inter-employee, or next to sales relationship, write this rule. Once you get emotional, you are part of the problem.